you all so much for coming out. Today we are here to celebrate the launch of Gym Trainer's latest book. And so we'll hear from Jim later. First up, we have Ignacio Carvajal, who's from Costa Rica. He's a PhD student of Latin American literature at UT Austin. He's a member of the Latino Writers Collective of Kansas City and the literary workshop Don Chico in Costa Rica. Please welcome Ignacio.
I'm trying to find my gratitude, trying to find bad attitudes. You can holler at your boy at several different latitudes. Let's go for a ride, feet in the stirrups, try to cope with this common era, vestido de oveja, pero por dentro una fiera, me vengo filosófico en el idioma que quiere. I'm here to take a census, a mighty deity census, so are you with or against us? Go on then, like the censors. I'm trying to find my gratitude, I'm trying to ditch my bad attitudes, holla at your boy at any fucking latitude. So you tell me, brother, how we are to care for each other, how to seize the moments you can picture with a Kodak. I want to go past the last period and well into a coda of only the fire that comes from the word. It has become apparent we can no longer afford to waste any time before we go to the Lord. How many rivers do we have to ford? Because they tell you to keep chasing that paper, and I see craft and inspiration vanish like vapor. That's why I stay doing art and love's labor. Wield them two blades for as long as I'm able. Thank you all for being here. This is so very exciting. I'm so very proud and honored to be reading with you tonight, Jim. It's been a great experience to see you put all on this work for this new collection and to be a part of it. So I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank you all for being here to celebrate this new book.
Right.
I want to read a poem that is not mine, and then I'll do a couple more of mine and I'll get out of your hair. This is The Life Cycle of Common Man by Howard Nemerov. Roughly figured, this man of moderate habits, this average consumer of the middle class, consumed in the course of his average lifespan just under 500,000 cigarettes, 4,000 fifths of gin, and about a quarter as much vermouth. He drank maybe 100,000 cups of coffee, and counting his parents' share, it cost something like $500,000 to put him through life. This is from 1976. How many beasts died to provide him with meat, belt, and shoes cannot be certainly said, but anyhow, it is in this way that a man travels through time, leaving behind him a lengthening trail of empty bottles and bones, of broken shoes, frayed collars, and worn out or outgrown diapers and dinner jackets, silk ties and slickers. Given the energy and security thus achieved, he did what? The usual things, of course, the eating, dreaming, drinking, and begetting, and he worked for the money which was to pay for the eating, etc., which were necessary if he were to go on working for the money, etc., but he chiefly talked. As the bottles and bones accumulated behind him, the words proceeded steadily from the front of his face as he advanced into the silence and made it verbal. Who can tally the tale of his words? A lifetime would barely suffice for their repetition. If you merely printed all his comments, the result would be a very large volume, and the number of times he said, "Thank you," or "Very little sugar, please," would stagger the imagination. There were also witticisms, platitudes, and statements beginning, "It seems to me," or, as I always say, consider the courage in all that. And behold the man walking into deep silence with the ectoplastic cartoon's balloon of speech proceeding steadily out of the front of his face, the words borne along on the breath, which is his spirit, telling the numberless tale of his untold word, which makes the world his apple and forces him to eat. All right. Howard Nemerov, not me. Among the daily quiet of the sidewalks, I have begun to hear a low, low murmur, a tremor imperceptible. It has a scent. I pick it up sometimes when I am falling or thinking about punishment, about damnation. I imagine that it tastes like water from the caños, like a drop of aguardiente that's been hiding underground for decades. It smells, I sometimes think, like matches. Not like a single match or like those booklets they give out at drinking establishments, like whole boxes of matches. Matches made of actual timber, whittled down and shaped, not cardboard ones, burning somewhere far away over a hill or a basurero, mixing with the sea and all the storms. But that I hear it is now, for me, most surprising, for I never did before. Never imagined that something so seemingly large could go unnoticed by so many people. I hear it at night, and when I'm dreaming, I hear it in the morn. It sounds like pain. But I am somehow able to tell that this pain comes seeking. It looks, it seems to whisper for the evildoers. I hear it louder every time, about the vibrating metal of the fences, about the names mistaken, about the clink of coins, about the scribbling of laws on nice clean paper, about the trudge, about the train, about the bullets. I'm on my way, it says, and it sounds angry. The time is near, it says, ya casi llego. Thank you. I have two more. The title of this one is Love. Love, perhaps I will find you in old age when it is a Monday and I am sitting in my living room eating a bowl of black bean soup with a hard-boiled egg in it. I may just, for every bite, try in earnest to scoop equal proportions of yolk, white, beans, and broth, and swallow down, carefully chewed, perhaps tracing a circle with my lower jaw, emulating the way a cow chews when I close my eyes and I imagine a cow chewing, looking onto the horizon with unworried cow eyes, with perfect posture, standing in a sunbathed pasture, carefully chewed and wholesomely enjoyed spoonfuls of love. Perhaps I will find you in old age on a weekend evening when I am in bed by 8:15 with nothing next to me, nor on top of me, nor underneath me, except for clean taut sheets, laundered with care at least once a week, and a reading lamp. The kind whose switch is a small cylinder that comes out the other side when turned on and off, that feels sort of tired and weary because I've been already reading my book of sonnets for 27 minutes instead of my usual 20. I may just find you in some cleverly measured and rhymed couplet there next to my lamp. At the risk of suggesting the preposterous, I even in this moment am inclined to put forth that perhaps, love, I will find you on some warm day when I sit down, perhaps on a rocking chair on the front porch that my house perhaps has, to read a letter that's been stamped in another state and seems to be, from the weight of the envelope, between 5 and 8 handwritten pages in length. Perhaps a long-lost friend, who in young age I fully expected to talk to every day in old age, but whom I have not seen in 2 long decades, wrote it. And perhaps it is there, love, that I will find you, nestled in the calligraphy of a voice that remains familiar, buried in beatific rambles and odes to those times during which I and my close friends, you know, those friends, shared some semblance of certitude that old age would come, but we had just no time to give to it. I may just find you there and then, love, elbow on the arm of my chair, fingers with ink stains, slightly crumbling notepad sheets of paper, right in between those two pauses in the universe when my chair goes forth and then rocks back. Not every scribbler, not every juggler of words and sentences deserves the same title we give those who pen our anthems. The things that I could tell you. If sensitivity was virtue, I know you would believe me and dwell in the cities that have built you and run across the fields that I have painted you and tremble at the sweeping love of this proclamation that you damn well know I stole from reading someone else's verses. No microphone was made to amplify the vibrations of a single skeleton, no box nailed together for a single one to stand upon it and plead for compassion. Every poem exists, but I'm afraid I cannot say the same about its poet. Let us pretend for a few verses that honesty is virtue, because I'm flawed like every piece of paper you've tossed into the trash bin. I'm flawed like every piece of wood that's not good enough to build you a house, but will at least burn in the fire. I'm flawed, and if I scream it loud enough, dear, I know you will believe me. And from belief comes understanding. But not everyone who yells is to be listened to. Ah, the knee-buckling beauty of our one-liners. We will assume then that honesty is virtue, and I will confess that this is a lonesome city. Sometimes at night when I drive home in anger, every light turns green at the precise instant, at that very moment at which I don't have to slow or hurry. And only chasing virtue, I swear, I wish loving you was that easy. Wish I were every road and every set of eyes upon it, every light and stop sign, so I could let you through to cruise smooth around each bend in hopes that you may find me. Lately, I've been mistaking doorways for mirrors, and upon stepping in front of them, I am amazed at how accurate my reflection is becoming, because I can still hear my steps, but I'm finally realizing that the me before you is nothing but the vapor of borrowed lines, the vapor of the same tongue that reads out every last one of our poems, and you, dear, rest assured, I will chase you. And I pray to one day pen the lines that may capture you, because like me before my doorway, you are nothing but vapor, but unlike me, you are every road and sunset. You are all of the things that cannot belong to any single one of us, and so we, scribblers and yellers, have had no choice but to crown you poetry. So we may pretend to know you, but I am begging you, for God's sakes, just this once, let honesty be virtue, and I will pen across my chest, dear, that I am tired. I am tired. Thank you all.